Are you kidding me? Literally, as I'm finishing my setup for my multi-microphone review comparison to figure out how I can use the Deity or Deity S-Mic 2S in my main recording setup instead of my main microphone, I pull up Gerald Undun's video, and he stole my idea. He stole it right from my brain. He just picked it right from my brain and stole it so that he could use it on YouTube. We can't stand for that. Gerald Undun, you're gonna pay, but not until sometime after this episode of Gearhead. Testing. We are rolling on the Zoom F6 and OBS. Hopefully this works. Today we're trying something different. Today I want to try to see if we can replace my main studio microphone here, which currently, I've swapped it out a couple times, but it's currently the ElectroVoice RE320, and see if we can swap it for something that you can't actually see on camera. Specifically on deck, we have the Deity or Deity S-Mic 2S, which is a weird name, but it's their newest short shotgun microphone. And I've reviewed the S-Mic 2 from Deity or Deity as well recently, and I actually have that mounted above the 2S to just see which one works better. One is a longer shotgun mic, the new 2S is a shorter shotgun mic. That's, I believe the S stands for short. And then up over here on the camera, they are all pointed exactly at the same positioning that I would use them if this was my permanent setup. On the camera, I have pointed down at me, kind of here-ish, that's where they are all pointed, is the Rode NTG2, which I have not used in a long time that I've talked about, but it has been my main broadcast microphone over on my Workbench streaming setup. But since I haven't used that setup in a little while, I've figured, if I decide that I want to keep this one as my main microphone here, then I can swap one of these two over to that one. Now, I'm not using my main shotgun microphone, which is the MKH416 from Sennheiser, just because it would be way too much hassle and setup complication to use this and also use it, because I also use it for my voiceover work and for my on-camera work. I really need a couple of these. It would be way too much hassle because I want to be able to just turn on and record these videos without plugging in a bunch of stuff. So I have 4 mics arrayed here. I've got my normal RE320 running into OBS as usual, and then I have applied I will apply during the testing, my compression, EQ, and normalizing, de-esser in post, but for the moment they are all raw, so they're all going to sound a little bit more bland than usual. And I'm recording the other 3 shotgun mics into the Zoom F6 here, which is a wonderful little audio recorder I will be reviewing soon. Go ahead and get subscribed for that if you're not already. That does 32-bit float as well as 6-channel multitrack and some other cool stuff. Kind of similar to the Mix Pre 3 I recently reviewed, or the Mix Pre 3 2, but a competitor to it, and I wanted to review it. So we've got all of this microphoneage going, and I'm just been switching between them here, and I kind of want to see, I'm mainly honestly gathering your all's input. I'm going to try to get this video up fairly quickly, although it'll be almost nearly a week before, after I record this before I do. But my main goal here, aside from, reviewing the S-Mic 2S, is to get your all's feedback as to what you like. Because I've honestly been making microphone changes based on viewer input, because I did get some complaints about the sound quality. I wasn't really processing the RE20, and I got lazy with my processing of the RE20. The DBX 286S kit is great for a starter processing box, but I was running into some issues with it that I really didn't like. And so I've actually just been running my 320 here off of software processing. I've got a favorite selected in Adobe Audition, and it's been doing really great for me. I've basically got it tuned to sound almost identically to how I tune my MKH416, and I've done some back-to-back testing, and most people can't tell the difference, which is fantastic. Phenomenal microphone. And Mike over at Booth Junkies had already been able to get the normal S-Mic 2 to sound like the 416 as well with a basic EQ thing in his review, link to that below. And so I figured with the 2S, it should sound fairly similar. You may honestly never be able to tell the difference between the 2S and the 2, but I want to see if that can sound. But an issue sound similar. But an issue that I've run into with shotgun microphones in this setup is a little bit of tinniness, even with the 416. I tried running it into my mixer, which doesn't have the best preamps for these microphones, and I didn't have enough FET to like compensate for it, because I would need the FET Phantom for these shotgun mics. I was running into a little bit of tinniness between the preamps and the fact that you do get a lot of reflections in this setup. So that is actually a lot of what this is testing here, because my desk has a desk mat on it and a wrist pad, and my entire desk has a desk mat. So there is a little bit of thin absorption material. And then up in this corner up above me, because I have a shelf up above me, I have used some of the sound foam stuff to absorb some of the reflections in those corners, because those are kind of the most dangerous parts for sound reflections and things like that. And of course I have the rest of my room somewhat sound treated. It is still my living room, so it's not a vocal booth, but sound treated enough for my normal, broadcast microphone setups. But then I still have a big and now an ultra wide monitor sitting in front of me, another monitor over here, more monitors back behind me, and then this wall behind the monitors that isn't all super sound treated because I have a lot of stuff hung on them. So between all of that, you get a lot of reflections bouncing around of my voice, which is where it is directly going, because I'm basically talking directly at my monitor here, which is where those reflections are probably coming from. And a lot of these shotgun microphones have struggled with that, because shotgun microphones are more meant to be used for outdoor use. A lot of people criticize them for indoor use due to picking up weird warbliness from reflections. That's actually a complaint of the 416, is when you use it indoor, it picks up a little bit of warbliness from reverb inside that it's not designed for. And the same can be said of a lot of long shotgun microphones. And so I think I tried both the 416 and the S-Mic 2 and ran into those issues before. And so I want to see if the 2S does better, because theoretically it's supposed to not pick up those quite as much due to being a short microphone. I can't really get it any closer to me physically without it being on camera. And now I could do the whole Caleb from DSLR video shooter setup and mount a shotgun microphone here, but that wouldn't do me any better. That would still be an obnoxious microphone on camera with a pop filter. That defeats the purpose. I would rather just keep using this microphone because it sounds great and I'm used to it. So I want to see how that absorbs, and then I'm going to do a quick static test here to see how it rejects sound, because I do always have my computers going and things like that just to get a hint of how the different mics reject sound from the sides. And I'm going to do it mostly as an emulation of PC sound, not as serious background background rejection, because again, in this setup, I'm not trying to get a fine scope in on one voice in a crowd of sounds or people or anything like that. And that is a complaint of the 2S that people have, is that it doesn't have, it has a wider cone of pickup. But that's actually better, because I move around and talk, and especially if I'm going to use it while I'm streaming, I want it to be able to pick up, more of where I'm moving and things like that, because I'm not trying to reject a bunch of background sound, just a little bit. All right, so I've got a little bit of subtle, relaxing white noise going here, and you can hear how it normally, how up close my RE320 may or may not reject that noise, because it's designed to be used, right up on the speaker's mouth and reject a lot of noise. And then I'll come out here, because again, the shotgun mics are right here. I come pretty wide out and just loop this back. And then I'll come out here, because again, the shotgun mics are right here. I come pretty wide out and just loop this back. All right, and then I want to do a quick talking while typing test for each of the microphones. These are Cherry MX Blue switches on this keyboard with O-rings. So they're some of the more louder options, but the O-rings keep out the harsh, flooring of the keycap, which makes a lot of the harsher noise. This is a talking while typing test. I'm going to click some microphones as well, or click some mice as well, talking while typing, just mouse. This is a talking while typing test. This is a talking while typing test. I'm going to click some microphones as well, or click some mice as well, talking while typing, just mouse. This is a talking while typing test. 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 I always type harder when I do these tests than when I actually type, but that should give you an idea. I'll just loop it back for each of the microphones. All right, and lastly, we do our usual that I do in every microphone review, 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky, quote, Lord of the Rings, quote, and I'll just cut in between each microphone, and then I will do a second pass with how I would process each microphone as well. All right, before we do the 3 rings thing, Reed, I did want to note that I noticed that after I had set up my microphone mounting, the S-Mic 2S, the one that I'm supposed to be reviewing here, actually fell down and was right up against my monitor, which I thought was fine, but it was very clearly picking up even more reflections off the monitor than had originally intended, and then the other microphones may have been, so that's not a super fair comparison. So for this main test, which I really want you to base your readings off of, I have moved it up to, it is now right up against the, well, not up against, but right in the same kind of position as the main S-Mic 2. That way, it has the same distance from all of the potential reflective sources. I also wanted to note that I did notice with all of the shotgun mics, I do have to turn my overhead fan off. Typically I turn the light off, but not the fan, and it's not even remotely a problem because I keep it on low for my desktop broadcast mic. But these, especially since I don't actually have windscreens on them, and windscreens only do so much at the moment, well, in general, I had to turn the fan off because I did see a little bit more level fluctuation than I thought was ideal. But we're going to go ahead and get into this here. 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. 9 for the mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all. 1 ring to find them. 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. Hopefully that was a bit of a more fair test. Alright, so I keep adding stuff into this video as I listen to it and tweak and try to make changes. This video is as much for me to figure out the best optimal setup as getting your all's feedback, as I love messing with it. I have actually removed my RE320 from its microphone arm, and I have used that to leverage the microphone in a new spot, which I'll talk about in a moment. First, I wanted to mention Podcastage recommended these on-stage quick release adapters to me. I was looking for some quick release adapters for microphones, since I'm constantly moving them around to test and review them, and it's annoying as hell unscrewing them, plus that loosens the mechanics of the mic arms. These are like 10 bucks on Amazon. Love it. Also wanted to complain that with all of Deity's mics so far, they come with these mic clamps, which have the adapter to go from the bigger, fat microphone screw mount to the smaller one. These are pre-installed and they're permanently attached as of the time of recording. So despite the fact that they have the little arm and I wasted like an hour trying to use flatheads and knives and metal bars to try to unscrew them and just breaking the brass, these are permanently attached. They are looking into possibly including some that are not, or adapting them back out to the fatter threads. But apparently all of the actual like boom poles on the market for actual like boom operators use these smaller threads, which is why they went with them as a standard. But all of my mic stuff uses the fat ones. So I now have 2 of these that I can't use in most of my setups, and I'm gonna have to find some spares that I can order online that actually fit my main shotgun microphones. But I did mount it using my microphone arm just barely off camera. It is right here. You can see the bottom of my finger right up against the windscreen. It is as out of camera as it can be, but it is much closer to me and just out of frame pointing down at my mouth. This isn't pointing directly at me as I prefer, but it may do a lot better to not pick up quite as much reflections and pick up a little bit of the boominess of my voice, which I like and prefer. And I also still have my fan on. I'm going to turn it off for the test since I will be doing some post-processing and stuff, because I do see a little bit of the flicker of the levels on my Zoom F6 recorder here, but I do have the fan on just in case you hear it here. I wanted to include that, but I'm going to go turn it off and we're going to do the read one more time, cutting between this and only the S-Mic 2S, between this and where it was before. Three rings for the Elven Kings under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. 9 for the mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all. 1 ring to find them. 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. Hopefully at this point, we can make a decision as to which microphone I should be using. Overall, I'm a pretty big fan of the Deity S-Mic 2S. I am never going to say that name correctly. I wish they would have done it. I guess I should just call it the Deity 2S, maybe? Microphone, pretty good mic, especially if you want a shorter shorter shotgun microphone instead of a longer one, depending on how close you need it to your subject. Again, if you are booming it and want it actually, at a good talkable distance, you will need a boom pole that can actually get closer instead of further away due to it being a shorter microphone, but that's neither here nor there. Let me know what you think. Let me know which microphone you would prefer me to use in these talking head parts of my videos for my tutorials in the link, or in the comment section, in the description down below. Down there will be a link to this video, or talking is hard. Down there will be an affiliate link on B&H to this very microphone if you want to pick one up for yourself. I highly recommend it. I'm EposVox, here to make tech easier and more fun. Thank you for watching Gearhead, my product and gear review show, and I'll see you next time. Go check us out on Floatplane. You can get early access to videos and behind the scenes content. Go check me out on Fiverr. I'm now doing some voiceover gigs. If you need some stream alert sounds or something like that, hit me up. I'm about to launch a new I'll read for like an educational video kind of things too, an explainer video. But yeah, Fiverr, EposVox. Bye.